Hey guys, it's Core Ross and 106 News. So today we're going to be testing Recoil, which is something I hate doing, but we're going to look at mouse and keyboard recoil along with controller recoil for Zofia's assault rifle and Ace and Fuze's AK-12 because they have both been improved on the test server, and we're going to take a look at that now. And the usual disclaimer here, this is a test server, so things might still get tweaked before they go live, but I'll attempt to keep you up to date on all that. And that I hate testing recoil. My conclusions from it are very basic. I wish there was someone out there who did mouse and keyboard and controller recoil comparisons and all that, but there's not, so someone's gonna freaking do it, I guess. We're gonna take a look at it, and mainly you guys take away the conclusions. I'll give you some rough conclusions, but I am in no way an expert on recoil. So let's start by looking at the recoil pattern for Ace and Fuze's AK-12, and we're going to begin with mouse and keyboard PC recoil first. So the live version is really good basically, and the AK-12 is arguably one of the best, if not the actual best gun in the game right now, and that recoil pattern looks very controllable. But for the Crystal Guard season, they are making it worse. And last week when it launched, this is what the test server recoil looked like. Very bad, like basically twice as bad as the live version. But yesterday we got a brand new patch which brought that back in, because they have heard about people's frustration with the recoil changes, and they are kind of pulling it back in and making it a little bit better. So this is the new test server version, and well, it's still terrible vertically, but horizontally it's actually improved over the live version, which is weird. And if we compare them side by side, we can see that the live version is absolutely amazing, the old test server is horrendous, and the new test server is oddly better in the horizontal, but at least twice as bad in the vertical. So I'd love to know your conclusions in the comments below, and we'll move on now to the controller recoil pattern. So if you don't already know, basically what the controller recoil pattern is simply a better version of the mouse recoil pattern, or at least that's what it's supposed to be, as it is of course harder to control the recoil on a controller. So if we look at the live recoil pattern for the controller, you can see that it is simply just a compressed version of the mouse and keyboard one. And of course, just like on PC, it is one of the best guns in the game. But then if we take a look at the old test server version, this is where it starts to get nuts, and it just swings off to the right. Now, like I said, it's supposed to be a better version of the mouse and keyboard recoil, and if we actually look at the old test server versions for the mouse and keyboard and controller, I would say the controller one is actually significantly worse and just looks freaking nuts pulling off to the right like that. And thankfully yesterday's patch has improved that. So the live version again looks amazing, the old test server one looks terrible, and the new test server one is, again oddly, they've made the horizontal way better and way more predictable, but the vertical has certainly got worse, but it doesn't even look like it's 2 times as bad as it was. So I am oddly kind of not sure here, because the horizontal looks way better. The vertical definitely, a bit worse, but I can definitely control that. So my takeaway is that, oddly enough, I think this is improved on controllers now, which is weird, especially obviously looking at that old test server version where it was just pulling off and going flying up the wall. Yeah, odd, really kind of odd one there actually. I do wonder if they're going to iterate that yet again, we'll see. But that moves us on to Zofia. So we have less comparisons here, because what we've got is the live version, which is after a nerf, which we had at the mid-season. I don't have any pre-nerf versions, but we also have the new test server version that was uploaded yesterday. So we're going to have a look and see what we think of that. So right now, live with a mouse and keyboard, the recoil pattern is terrible for this gun. It goes flying up the wall off to the left. And the new Crystal Guard version, it's slightly better. So what they've done is definitely brought in the horizontal a little bit, but the vertical pull is still very much there, and I would say is pretty much the same. And there's not really much for me to conclude from that. Moving over to the controller recoil, you can see that the live version right now is horrendous. There's a ton of horizontal kind of randomness, plus that massive amount of vertical as well. And if we actually compare the live mouse to live controller, it's obvious that the controller is way worse as well. There's much more randomness in the horizontal, and the vertical looks to be pretty much exactly the same. It should be an easier version, but it is not. Now moving over to the new test server version that was released yesterday, this is what it looks like, and I would say not really much of a difference here. If we look at the live and the new Crystal Guard test server side by side, it's definitely improved, but marginally, I think is the way to put it. Not much of a real improvement here. Now, before the actual nerf to Zofia came out, when it was announced, I just immediately switched over to using the LMG, and I didn't even touch the assault rifle afterwards. So looking at this, my kind of conclusion is that I'm going to continue to use the LMG and just leave the assault rifle alone, because the LMG is amazing, and it's clear that the assault rifle here is still, I would say, far inferior to that LMG, so I'm going to continue using that LMG. But yeah, unlike the Ace, where we actually do see a big improvement, the new Crystal Guard one for Zofia here is just basically marginal improvement for both, I think, mouse and keyboard and controller. But anyway guys, that's my really bad analysis of the Recoil updates which came with the test server patch for Crystal Guard, and that was the 23rd of August. I think there's a chance that might still get tweaked just by looking at especially those Zofia results, but like I say, I hate doing this, but considering of course there's no test server on console, so console kind of Recoil is very much underrepresented, so I wanted to take a look and see how we shape it up in Crystal Guard. Anyway guys, thank you very much for watching. If you actually want to watch videos I'm good at, then check out the Mythbusters for the reworks to IQ, Twitch, Fuze and Mute. Those are actually good videos. Anyway guys, I'll catch you next time.